Oh shit, Vex, brother, what the fuck? Oh damn, okay, well I guess I gotta update the beanbox. God damn. Let me add it. The shoulder when you cracking me on YouTube. I hope you are all doing well. Speed run, you really did. Gotta grab my iPad. And then I gotta grab the stand. And then we're gonna draw Fruit Bat as a fetus. And then we're going to play a little bit of Let's Build a Zoo. And then we're going to read SCP stories and watch TikToks. So that's the plan for the evening. I hope you guys are excited and stuff. Or are ready for a chill night in, really. Want you know. I gotta close stuff. I have too many things open on my computer right now. Oops, I clicked the wrong one. I wanna give you the world. You could erase me. The way I perked up at hearing my name was very confused. I'm drawing you as a fetus. It's fetus time for you. Alright, there we go. Face tracking's all good. Oh, baby, watch me, won't you know? My love's gonna feel like nothing. You're right, you can feel like. I just gotta open the file first. Yeah, I forgot that was happening. I was like, oh, what? Who's turning me into a fetus? It was fair. I did a new version that I think I like better for this, so we'll probably be doing that. Let me select and then duplicate. Want you to know what it's gonna feel like. Oh no, it's insert a photo. This one. Okie dokie. And now we will screen share. Oops. Nope. Whoop. Nope. That's not what I wanted to do. Restart. This one. There we go. I saw the Excel. Do you like it? I was working on it while we were in D&D, and I thought it looks pretty snazzy now. I think it looks pretty snazzy. And if anybody wants me to, or if anybody wants to request that I make them, I'd be at SCP. Yeah, you be whatever you want. Yeah, I was kind of doing like an old school computer kind of database. I thought that would be cool. Oh, this is the wrong color. I need the darker color. Layer. Classic. I just added my recommendations. Thank you. And I might, just as like a heads up for everyone, I might next week start doing the like watching SCPs on Thursday. We don't have D&D on Thursday, this coming Thursday, so I think that might be the play. Okay. Make this more pinky. And then now, what's a baby monkey's tail look like? So that's what a baby monkey tail. It's just really thin. Okay. But like about like a fetal monkey baby. It still seems pretty long. I'm working on Z-brushing a shirt. Ooh, I hope that is fun. Hope that's not too much of a headache for you. I think it was this one. Yeah, I was using this one. Okay. So we got Let me grab black actually. So we got a little tail. Okay. The only thing that bothers me is how the smooth makes everything so blurry. That's fair. Yeah, that one with ZBrush it blurs it, I think, a bit more than like how like in my opinion Maya just kind of like upscales it, I guess you could say. But that's because it doesn't if that's bothering you, anything that you want to keep a hard edge on, if you go into the Z modeler tool, I think you can like hold edge, I think it's called. And you can do it that way. And it'll keep those edges creased when you add subdivisions. Yeah. Give me I shine only with the light you gave me. Hey, that's good. Of course. And then I know Fruit Bat's gonna have like a swoopty. I'll do an up swoopty. I'll do like an up swoopty. Or like I kinda wanna do like a little, yeah, like one of those. And now I have to there we go. And then I will color them in with human colors. When I was young and stupid. That is what this one is for. You me stop away, so live so safely. Now we want the lighter gray. Stupid little. I'm glad that you're liking it, cause I think like last night I was like sitting with this and being like, what do I like the best with this, and kind of like how it kind of doing like the crayon style of like adding stuff on top. I thought was kind of fun. I do have to put this underneath though, which means I'm going to have to separate this part. Life turns in slow motion. And then I want to add a little bit more purple, I think. Right here. And then I want to kind of add one of the flowers that you have in your hair, on your hat. So I just think it's cute. Ooh, I also want to add the blush color to the ears. Be a rock and roll star. I think I want to change the outline color of this to be this one. Okay, darker. Fill layer. So now I'm gonna see if I can learn a short. My bro sent me a TikTok and said, "Bet you won't." Oh, it's gonna be an amazing dance. I know it. Do you like to do choreography stuff a lot, or is this just just like a bet thing? No, don't, but I don't, but I still try. Layer. I feel like it's not that dark. I think it needs to be darker. Yeah. much down. Hang on. Have you ever tried? No, because I think I'd look really, really silly. But I like dancing. I think in an alternative timeline, I got into like dancing. Thank you for the head, Power Rainer. Welcome on in. I hope you're having a lovely day. Oh, bad. Oh, that's because I'm using the wrong brush. I've never tried TikTok dance trends. That's fair. I mean, like, some of them are, like, really, like, I don't know how to put it other than, like, they're kind of, like, satisfying, but, like, I've never personally tried one. I ain't no dancer. Oops, that's not the color I wanted. This is not the brush that I want. Let me take the purple. It's not purple, bruh. Please. Hi, I'm back again. My girl cracked me up. What happened? What'd she do? What'd she do? Also, I hope everyone's having a good day today. Hope you had fun in watching me play D&D. You gotta go back to this color. Huh? There you go. Been like this. Oh, you kissed me. There we go. That's Fruit Bat. Fruit Bat as a little baby. I want to adjust the coloring right here. Just the position of it. Not this one. This one. Yeah, there you go. Little guy. Little guy. This is you, Fruit Bat. This is you as little guy. I might do one more. That's really quick. Where's my notepad? Oh, Mew. Okay. Mew. We have a faulty garage door, and it was pissing me off, so I stepped out and basically forced it into manual and opened it in one go, and she told me, that's fair. That is very fair. As a lady with a boyo that can do the same, I understand. You little guy, I'll send it to you on Discord. I'll send it to you on Discord. 1 second. PNG. Dibcord. Boop. And go. Little fetus. Wanna be with you in the moonlight. And then I just gotta rename this. Oops. And fruit bat vamp. Oop. Fetus. And then select and duplicate that. And then I don't know if I have Mew's picture still on this iPad. Add. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Insert a photo. I have to go and grab it. I have to go and grab it. I think it's on top here. Copy. Boop, boop, boop. Paste. There you go. Wanna be with you all night. Wanna be with you all night. Alrighty. You'll be this color. Fill. Ooh, maybe I do a little bit of a darker pink, huh? Fill layer. Like this one. Yeah, and then we do these ones. Oh, hey there, I didn't see you. Hello. Hello. How you doing, CG? Are you having a good Friday? Then I want this one to be more. Potty the bone. I think this isn't even normal. There you go. Alright. Models in the VIPs. I need new. Doing well. I'm thinking of getting drunk, so that'll be fun. Ooh, be sure to drink water. Be sure to have some water too. Please say turn it down. Free for party rockin'. Yeah, the spotlight. Party rockin'. Just be. Do you have a favorite thing to drink though, CG? Again. And then and then I gotta copy this. Copy paste. There we go. And merge down. Look out with your pickle VOD. I mean, that's crazy. That's so different. I've never heard of that. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry, intrusive. No, you're totally good. I'm the one that's sorry because I'd said ew. Oh wait, that was to Happy though. About me, I don't drink. I'm not a drinker. If I have to drink, cause like, you know, like I'm hanging out with people and they're all drinking, I'll pick like something sweet. And I like a nice Cafe Conron. What's that? Is that like coffee liqueur? Yeah, no, I'm a get high girly. I am much more get high girly. That's why we get high here every Friday. Oh wait, no, that's this one. Copy paste, reselect, clear, and this is gonna go under the outline. For party rockin', should we just be like? Okay, I need to do. I know, like technically she wouldn't have this, but I'm adding it anyway. My Jello shots, yeah, that is a very fair choice. Cause Jello shots can be like a lot of fun shapes, you know. I've never had a Jello shot personally, but they seem fun because they can be like whatever. I like that. Last night I stayed up a little too late drawing and playing Let's Build a Zoo, I'm gonna be honest. Went viral. Circle. Oop. I was having so much fun reorganizing my zoo and passively making money. I wanna try a Bloody Mary. Don't they have like celery sticks on them? For some reason. I don't really know why they have celery sticks on them, but they do, I think. Did you pay off your loan? My loan? I got approved for. Welcome on in, Computer Racer. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Oh, also welcome on in to Techno Squid and Some Girl's Name. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I did not pay off my loan, but I was approved for a lower like payment plan. So that's pretty fucking awesome. So I don't have to worry about it all that much. I'm just more happy that I don't have to worry about like paying like $600 a month towards it. Oh shit, I gotta give Vex their hat. Look at me slacking. Not the loans. This guy, I just have student loans. I got student loans because I went to college. I be making Virgin Bloody Marys often, so I imagine it would be good with vodka too. But Virgin Bloody Marys, you can drink it anytime. That's true. I've never had a Bloody Mary either, actually. I show myself as one of these. Nah, oh, you're a smarty girly. Yeah, I've been going to Jupiter. Does Jupiter have nice weather? But yeah, I went to college. I went to college for 3D modeling for video games, actually. That's how I know how to 3D model. Oh, and I went to an art school, so I have art knowledge. I need the lighter pink. I like dirty Shirleys to drink. Normally Shirleys are normal Shirley. What are Shirleys? What is that? There you go. Now we have Mew. I don't think Mew has a tail, so. It's always you and me. I would never leave you. Spring crown. There you go. Vex is the only one. Shirley Temple. So, oh, okay, that's cool. I don't think I've ever. Is grenadine a? What is grenadine? Is grenadine is the alcohol, right? Tis you as a baby. Okay. Isn't that grenade is palm syrup? Oh, is it syrup? Cherry, but I think it's palm syrup. Oh, is it syrup? I thought it was an alcohol. All right. I have drawn 2 people as a fetus. We can't overdo the fetusing. If we overdo the fetusing, then like it'll be so many fetuses, and then I'll get burnt out on fetuses. Can I make it like? I was kind of hoping I could like cross it out, honestly. Cause I just remove it. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, dokie. I want to wear the new hat. There we are. Grenadine is a syrup used in a lot of mixed drinks. Oh, okay. Kissing a Shirley Temple or Roy Rogers. Roy Rogers doesn't sound very nice. Shirley Temples don't originally have alcohol, but I like to use raspberry vodka, and on the very rare occasion I drink. That does sound like a good compliment. Like that does sound like a good compliment. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. Do we want to read SCP stories first? Or do we want to play Let's Build a Zoo first? I think we should play I'm not sure. Zoo first? Okay. Okie dokie. It is a little early, so zoo for 4 hours. I say SCP first. All right, we need one more vote. And one more vote. I don't mind either way, though. Back in Chicago. Hold on. Let me Let me open up some of the SCPs for today. I think we read this one. This one is one of the ones 50-31. I mean, I've outvoted. Oh, I guess you are technically. Oh, I know it's here. Okay. SCP-294. Oh, we read that one. Okay, did we read 2107? We have not read 2107. And then SCP-031. And do we have any others? Okay. Okie dokie. I was seeing if any of them were super short, because then we could do like a super short one. I don't want to break it up. Tried wine last night and I was kind of meh about it, but maybe because it was a cheap box wine. I don't like wine. Wine makes me think that like it's supposed to be like grape juice, but it's not, you know? I am making them for all. Okay. All right, continue. All right, so this is my zoo so far. Okay, you were totally Neil. Okay, yeah, I'm out of food. Yeah, I remember. It was like watery gross. By the way, I love the. Thank you. I tried really hard to make it look pretty cool. So far, okay, wait, no, I gotta pause it. I want to pause it. So this is the zoo so far. I found out this shit can be big though. This can be like big, because I was like looking at like other people's stuff. Like, look at how big this shit can get. Hold on. Like, look at this. This one was like, this next one was like one of my favorites though. Like, look at that. That's huge as fuck. And so I'm like, God damn. So yeah. Yeah. This is my tiny little one for now. I expanded this way because I didn't know how I wanted to do it just yet. But I just built a farm. So I just built a farm. And so I got Coca-Cola machines because it was for a quest to have like 10 of them. I couldn't find 10 of them, so I replaced them. It's like a whole wildlife preserve. Oh god. Like I am just barely habitating my animals. I haven't gotten a black bunny yet. I will say the original Happy Orwell bunny did pass away of old age. I don't know how long. I don't remember how long they lived though. Will the crematorium tell us? I don't think it did. I don't think it'll tell us who has passed away. But the original, unfortunately, we have had some bunnies pass away. But I'm very invested in this. Rest in peace, me. Yeah, technically, we'll rehab you when oh, I do need this water tower, but it's like 12, right? Yeah, I'm saving it for the 12. But technically, like, I gotta get a black bunny. How did I forget about the delay between drinking and feeling it and got like 3? Oh, yeesh. Uh-oh. I need to buy stuff. I think I just need to reorder the eggs. But yeah, I'm also in debt. I didn't know that there was like end of the week expenses and bills. So I kind of look at how fast they jump. They jump super fast. I may have no, I want to look at the animals in this pen. They're all girls. Okay. I have to make sure like all the pens have only boys. Oh, okay, this one has girls in it. I need to move these two over here. Because the rabbits be fucking fast. And I'd rather they breed through the nursery. Holy fuck, how much caffeine did you give them? None, I just, you know. Births, pregnancy attempts. We've had more births. 2 out of 3. Okay. I think. Yeah, I wanna breed the rabbits because I don't have all the colors of rabbits yet. That reminds me of how when I drank nearly a whole bottle of vodka in one night because I was playing games and not paying attention. Wow! Yeah, how'd you feel after that? I would have felt very deaded. I think I need something, but I don't know what I need for my park. Low on water. Oh, yeah, these guys need another water basin. These guys need 2 water basins because... Oh, I gotta do it this way. Add objects, water basin. And then move this one over one. Terrible. Was hungover the next day and had to work early and I couldn't tell anyone I was drinking. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Ain't nothing better than being like, hey, guys, I feel like shit, you know? Talking about it. Get one by buy a bigger bus. I don't know how to buy a bigger bus. You have a bus of so... Oh, I did get hyenas. I did get hyenas last night as well. So that was pretty fun. Looks like we got... Wait, how many piggies do we have? I don't... Actually, no, I should trade. We'll trade boots for some hedgehogs. And we'll put them in here for now. And then I think my plan is I'm going to... I'll move this and then I'll make a new one. Working at Waffle House, hungover, like, I mean, at least the Waffle House food is like super, like, could be kind of yummy though, you know? And then over here, and then this one. I'm gonna move the animals for now over. Add objects, water. Enrichment. I'm gonna get one more ball. I was too hungry. Oh, that's so unfortunate. I'm sorry. And then I gotta zone. People. Are they not close enough to a wall? Hello, Teeny. I'm good. How are you? How was your... I think you streamed today, right? How was your stream? Okay, I can get a water tower. The boy peen? The boy peen or the boy pen? So I feel like it's very different things. I got a water tower. Put me in, coach. Excuse me? There was so much, well, let me explain. I got you. Oh, you want to be in the boy pen happy? Okay, hold on. Let me rename one of the rabbits to be hot, steaming fun. Cool lore. I mean, hey. Cool lore. I mean, it sounds like a good time. Alright. I will move you. Wait, hold on. Okay. I'm gonna take you off contraception. And I'm gonna move you over there, okay? And now you can have babies. Oh, cola bender. Ooh. Okay, I think I need to make a water tower. We're looking homey, but we should... Yeah, of course! Yeah, just let me know. It's right in my ear. Water tower. As soon as you're doing improved to me by earning 5,000 in a single day. I don't know if I earn that much. I don't know if I can earn that much. Are you going to Offkai in July? No, not this year. I'll be going next year though. I can't think, I just can't stop. I don't know if I should put the water towers in the front or the back. got $200 for building a water tower. And the porcupines are here. And I'm going, but one day we meet. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll be going next year probably. Or to another con. I don't currently really know. Oh, a piggy barra. Where? What's the matter, Moira? I got a piggy barra. Look at this, guys. Look, you can splice animal genomes together and get new animals. And now I have a piggy barra. I have a piggy barra. I also have a ducky barra. Look at that. I also have a ducky barra. I don't be energy positive for a week. I think we need one more energy thing if we are going to be energy positive, I think. Yeah, I think that's the plan. I love the Cappy Duck. Just have my little duck head. Yeah, I like it too. Yeah, I got more plants. It's like 13 bucks each. Maybe this is not. Actually, maybe I fucked up. What's up with the animals? The nursery, yep. Yep. Smoke. Oh, a new baby has been born. Freckles. I have too many ducks. I will donate some of the ducks. Dozer, Tinker, and Jasmine can go. Yeah, donate. Cause if we have too many animals, I can't take care of them all. Oh no, he's infertile. Aw, man. Happy, I'm gonna put you in here. Actually, yeah, I made you a brown bunny. Oh, I can't pick it. I can't pick the mom and dad. Okay, it's fine. You know what? This game reminds me of Disco Zoo. What's Disco Zoo about? Or D piggy, little piggy, little piggies. Look at that little piggies. Someone died. Who died? Oh, and Undertaker's already out in the way. Okay. All right. Who needs more enrichment? These guys need more enrichment. Every other week. I think did I get the bigger balls yet? I did not. Let's give you guys a trampoline. There you go. Now the pigs have a trampoline. Low water. You have a pen that has low water. Oh, they need more water? Probably because there's too many pigs in here. Brady, Salem, Bob. Can be donated. Yep. There you go. It's an old mobile game that you rescue animals that have discos in. I fucking love that. Someone needs more enrichment? Who needs more? Someone, what the fuck? Oh. Someone, oh yeah, Midnight. Yeah, I said hi to Midnight already. Okay, cool. Ticket sales. Ticket sales are too low, chat. So you must make them $14. And I'm asking for patience. See. Ooh, new hyenas. Oh, Arnold. So there's this thing where you can, there's these black market dealers where you can buy and sell exotic animals, but it makes you like more evil, which can affect your park. But I've been reporting them all because we don't like animal cruelty. And I'm too fucking mean. Only get a job and you ask. I want the baby ultrasounds. How do those work? Breeding. Who needs more enrichment? Oh, that's because there's fucking 20 snakes in here, man. Oh, I think there's a trade for actually one of the snakes. Yeah, view trade. Age 123. Good lord. Alright, bye, Cody. I'm gonna have to make the pig pen bigger. Snake. Snake. Yeah, we have a lot of snakes in here, actually. We can... Well, I guess they don't need more enrichment, so it's okay. But I might donate some more of them. Hold on, I gotta pause this. I spend most of my time paused planning. Cause, like... I don't know if I wanna, like... How I wanna... Cause, like, look at how fucking big this fucking map is! I look down and I see a duck bouncing and yay! Isn't it funny? I love it. Oh, wait, we could rescue new animals. Hold on. I want to rescue these 2 hyenas. Okay, so... Let me think. Okay, I think... Yeah, most of my time in this game... Thank you for the wellness check. Let me drink some water. Most of my time, like, I can spend hours in this game just planning, and it's fun for me. But I think we're gonna move... The management office is, like, where you get, like, quests and stuff. So I might just move that to, like, here. Maybe? Moocher is bright. Stretchies, too? Yes, and the stretchies. Thank you. Okay, hold on. Alright. One arm over the other. Or one arm over my head. I think I'm doing this wrong. There we go. I just feel my wrist pop. Thank you, Fruitbat, for taking care of us here in chat. You guys better be stretching too. Stretching is good for you. Get that blood flowing. Alright. I'm gonna do a little arm workouts. I feel like I have a pop in my shoulder and it doesn't want to come out. I just saw the snake growl. Hold on. We can have things happen. Wow. Just make it slowly happen. There you go. See, they're not bouncing at the speed of light. That's because I have it on 1 times. 3, 4, 5. 9, 10. 2, 3. Ooh. 6, 7, 8, 9. The geese just go fast on the trampolines, I realize. They just go fast. I wonder how fast the bunnies would be if I gave them a trampoline. Okay, I have to do 1 more set of time. I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna pause so I can do a little moving of stuff. Time. Something new. Most of my stuff faces downwards, so I guess it's kind of weird that my subway doesn't. I might move things around. Are shelters? I think shelters are just for, like, working people. Like, take a break, I think. I'm gonna make the whole ground green. Because I think I'm gonna move stuff. Right. Yeah. So that way I can have a wind turbine. There you go. There you go. I think we're gonna be positive in energy now with this one turbine. 2, 3, 4. Oh, we need like 2 more, I think. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, successful. Successful. Oh my god, good job, chat. Good job today. Alrighty. So now we have this. Oh, I didn't move the other subway. Move. Yeah, I think I'm kind of bad at like min-maxing my park, but I don't think I want to be a min-maxer of my park. Alright, so then we'll have... Yes, of course I do. I don't know what I want to do with the incinerator. Because I kind of want this to stay near... Well, okay, I'll change the appearance. Hi, Kiwi! I'm back. What are we playing? We're playing Let's Build a Zoo. Which is just a fun little building a zoo game. Manage shop? Oh my god! Oh my god! Ooh. Yeah, like a little bit of MSG. MSG is good. Is I did 10%? I did 10%. There you go. I think hot dog should have a little bit. Okay, into footage. Yippee! Yeah. Let me look at it. Oh my god, this is so cute! Oh, you got cinnamon to do it. You got Coca-Cola to do it. That's so cute. I love it. I love it. It's so I love the outfit. The outfit's like 10 out of 10. I like the outfit. Now you have an MSG slider. You also have a slider for how much real meat you want to put in there, which I think is kind of cool. Cause like you could take your dead animals and you could butcher them and use them as food, technically in these as well. Become a meteor, become a blaze. Doesn't become a monster. Yeah, they got the VOD. They did. I like it a lot. It's very pretty. They made my favorite PNG reactives for me in Pixels. Tan. I'm having fun, but I think I need to take a powder to my nose. But bills are real. Yeah, so like there's like morality, and you can go negative into morality, and you can become like an evil corporation, or you can be like a really nice wildlife essentially preserve. So I'm going the good route. This is the management office. Trying to decide where I want the management and stuff to be. Cause like maybe I can move. I kind of like this being up there. I don't know if like this affects it. I think this is just a general thing. So I'm gonna put these. The only other thing that I wish this game had, I guess it doesn't super matter because you make so much money so quickly, is like when I destroy something I kind of want the money back. It doesn't do that, but like I said, you make a lot of money, so I guess it doesn't matter. me. And now I have to decide whether I want what I want to move. Because I kind of don't want to put the incinerator next to the farm. Let me just keep it. Let me just keep it down here. Just keep it excluded. Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause I am wasting all this time. We're starting with dirt. I know that there's technically like other ones, but like they cost money. And so I probably won't use the nicer floors until I figure out what kind. Until I expand it fully, I think is my plan. Because like, shit's kind of expensive. Because I'm like rebuilding like every other day. Oh. I might keep that there and then move. There was like, to be fair, a reason why I was kind of going broke. I went to see them. Oh, that's really cool. I've never gotten to go to a live concert, but maybe that'll change this year. I was overpaying a lot of my staff. I will say that. I was drunk, so I can't remember too much. That's so unfortunate. But hey, you probably had a good time. I feel like you would really remember if you didn't have a good time. I really want to know how I'm thinking. Okay, I might move the gift shop just to be like there for now. This is actually my first 24 Fires concert. Have you gone to multiple? Edit. But I have to make some of these pens like bigger. So I might move them. I think this one needs to be a little bit bigger, I think. Looking. What do they call 21 Pilots fans? I don't know. What do they call 21 Pilots fans? No, not really, because I didn't have enough money back in the day. Wendy Clancy concert came over to Texas. I was like, fuck it, I'm going. I don't care. That's fair. Hey, sometimes you just gotta YOLO. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I'm just gonna have a bunch of vending machines out here. Edit enclosure, change shape. I think it needs to go out one more. Yeah. There we go. And now I want to move the goose. Boop. Oh, I have a trash can. God dang it. People in a fan like to be called a clique. We all... Oh, okay. Yeah, I forget that, like, a lot of, like, musical artists have, like, names for, like, their fans. I forget that sometimes. I might just put this here for now. Change shape. Boop, 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 boop. And then... So put it here. I feel like that's not very... Ow! Rude. Few objects move. Oh my god, it's very what? Want to go to a Gorilla Club, but tickets are like 300 something, and I'm not in town. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Thank you for the head pats. I don't think the goose pen needs to be bigger. I think I do kind of want to merge the rabbit pen. But I'm not 100% sure. I gotta get going. No problem. Bye-bye. Maybe, like, the rabbit pen can go down here. Oh my god, it's, like, one bigger. Isn't that same? Oh no, I made them like 1 too wide. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I might just make the rabbit pen bigger. Edit, enclose, or change shape. Like this big. And that way all the rabbits can live together. And then animals, not that way. Boop, 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 boop. Okie dokie. And then animals, are they happy? Is Prancer. Oh, what the fuck? Are all the guys too old to have babies? Okay, so baby doll and Happy are not too old. The rabbit pen sounds like a sword. It does, doesn't it? It kind of does. If I've lost in a haze. Okay, move. Actually, I do have to move this somewhere else. I think this is just for me. I'll just put that bit there. Yeah, they have an area they call the bullpen at work. Yeah. I want to put the rabbits in the front. Yeah. And then move the gate. The gate there. It's like where you're waiting to go in. It's like a designated roped off area. You wait behind a gate. Okay. I'm gonna move this guy. Move this guy up one. It's like where you're waiting to go. Oh, I read that. My brain just a little bit. Yeah, and then I want to move wooden shelter here. So the bunnies can have that. And then I think that's good. And then edit enclosure. Move. Put this one over here. Move this one over here. Move it here. Because in order for me to expand this, I think I'm gonna have to be a little different. So like there. And then this one will be here. Now they have lots of more room. View object, this one. I didn't mean to destroy it. I wanted to just move it. Do I have any other shelter types? I think I just have the wooden ones. I really like that blocks my view of the animals. There you go. Two. I could move this down one actually, and then it would be okay. But then, like, you can't, like, go down here. It's fine. Yeah, there you go. I can't wait till I get, the lake tool. Enclosure move. Move these guys here. View objects, move. Just want to move that over one. Edit enclosure, change shape. Gonna be this big. There we go. And then I can edit enclosure, move this down. And then I'm going to move this one here, but I'm gonna make it wider. How wide is this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wait. 7, 8, 9. Yeah, okay, it was 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, now the piggies have a lot of room. View objects, move. There you go. It's not as pretty as I would like it to be, but that's okay. I'm gonna make like little walking paths. Visible. I'm gonna move these guys closer. We gotta go to the heat map. We gotta go employees. We gotta go to animal keepers. This one makes us feel like we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6. Okay. Oh, where's the... Do we have a heat map for water? We do. One there, and then one there, and then I need one more. And then... Who is ready to listen to me read SCP stories? Because I think it is about that time. Let me just fix this patch of grass. And then make sure this day ends, so that way we can save it. Because this day only ends at the end. Actually, I want to move the toffee to here. And then also move Guinness here. There we go. Let me just beat through it. Okay, okay. Today's profit was $2,000. Immoral proposition. Hey, I heard that you had some business on the darker side of the society. You see, people like us deal with a lot of people. Dead people. It's just part of the business, you know? Help us dispose of evidence by feeding it to your animals. No one will find out we got a deal. No, thank you. I don't want to feed my animals dead people. Thank you. Quick game. Confirm. Okay. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. This is the wrong edible. Hi, baby. Okay. SCP story time. Which I don't know if I should add people for that, but let me change the music. Nope, that's not what I wanted to click. Wait, we have a playlist. I don't know where it went. All right, we'll just do the one over here. Okay. Alrighty. SCP-2107. Object class, Euclid. Special containment procedures. All instances of SCP-2107 are to be stored in a CNSI containment locker at Site 19. Okay. Any number of instances may be moved to a refrigerated and CNSI unit in advance of experimental trials. Mobile Containment Task Force Theta 61 carbonated-based life forms is responsible for coordinating routine screenings for new instances of SCP-2107. At retail venues, which are considered probable locations for an appearance, newly discovered instances are to be acquired by conventional methods when possible. For larger quantities or in cases where a retailer proprietor is deemed likely to become problematic, Acquisition Protocol 14, Covert Theft, and 15, Overt Theft, 47, Impersonation of Federal Agency, may be utilized within authorization from staff with security clearance 3 out of 2,107 or higher. I think it's just gonna be 3 or higher, I feel like, individual exposed to the anomalous Individuals exposed to the anomalous properties of SCP-2107 are to be treated with a Class A anesthetic and remitted to the nearest civilian hospital for any medical care rendered necessary following exposure. SCP-2107 designates a soft drink brand known as Diet Ghost, which displays anomalous properties when imbibed. SCP-2107 has today only been encountered packaged by the individual can. Within 3 to 7 minutes of ingestion, subjects classified SCP-2107-A begin to experience paranormal activities that most often fall within the colloquial expectation of an individual being haunted by a ghost or other paranormal entity. Diet Ghost. Yeah, Diet Ghost. The effect continues until an as of yet undetermined point in the breakdown of SCP-2107 within the subject's body. Approximately 1 to 3 hours after ingestion, research has confirmed that the intensity of the haunting, herein defined by the quantity of individual paranormal facets, the possibility of physical harm, and the severity of said harm, is directly proportional to the quality of SCP-2107 imbibed. Oh, so there's a quality to it. Okay, not what I expected. Um, uh, SCP-2107 cans are the traditional variety used for soft drinks, being uniform in design and non-anomalous in composition and behavior. The can features a light blue background with the Diet Ghost logo prominently featured. The catchphrase "Scare Your Thirst" appears beneath the logo. I fear that this is like liquid death, but it's like it's like a soda. Like if liquid death was an SCP. Most instances also have a sticker on the can with the text "Made with Natural Ghosts" printed on it. It is unclear if the cans lacking this sticker were distributed this way or if the sticker was removed before acquisition. The cans bear no nutritional information. The liquid contents are non-anomalous in chemical composition and within normal parameters for a traditional diet soft drink. Initial discovery occurred May 13th, 2012. Scare Your Thirst does have liquid death, murder your thirst fight. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm like kind of just thinking of like liquid death as I read this. Initial discovery occurred on May 13th, 2012, when 7 cans of SCP-2107 were purchased by Foundation personnel at a supermarket in Redacted during a routine restocking of Site 19's recreational facilities. The partial remains... Okay, this is Hot Topic. I don't know how to not say this is Hot Topic. The partial remains of Hot Topic, oh, wait, no, this is a name. Okay, the partial remains of a senior maintenance assistant at Site 19 were found inside the van requisitioned from Site 19's vehicle pool for the purposes of the trip. 2 cans were open and empty. 2 cans were open and empty of the contents that when discovered. JB, the junior maintenance assistant who had been assigned with... Okay, sorry, my reading is bad. With HT for restocking duties, had gone back into the supermarket after having forgotten to procure a copy of the receipt of the Foundation for Foundation records. Jesus Christ. I bought a Shrinky Dink ghost sold as a dehydrated ghost. Dude, that's awesome. According to JB's account, HT was alone for no longer than approximately 5 minutes. A majority of discoveries have occurred in convenience stores, with acquisition from supermarkets and restaurants accounting for nearly all additional cases. Employees of retail locations where instances have been discovered have professed no prior knowledge of the product's existence, and records of the inventory acquisitions have shown no references to SCP-2107. SCP-2107 has now been recovered from retailers in 37 states and 2 Canadian provinces. Production and distribution of SCP-2107 is currently under investigation. SCP-2107 Abridged Experiment Logs. Okay. So this is like they synapsised it. Okay. Area personnel have encountered and acquired previously undiscovered packaging variant. Area personnel have encountered and acquired a previously undiscovered packaging variant. 15 cans were produced by a vending machine in the area's cafeteria. When the machine was opened for further inspection, no anomalous properties were discovered. These new instances of SCP-2107 features changed the design of the background, which now features a white silhouette of tombstone cats and cartoonish ghosts interspersed between iterations of the logo. Of note, this reminds me of isn't it like the Ghost energy drink? Yeah, it reminds me of this. Of note is the addition of new stickers to the can in the same font as the catchphrase text. These stickers include new promotional phrases, including from the makers of Ghost, 100% more spooky, scared satisfaction guaranteed, and your old favorite is back. All instances of SCP-2107 from the area are en route to Site 19 for containment and research trials to confirm whether their contents produce the same anomalous effects. It's the same anomalous activity as previously recorded instances. The addition of vending machines to the list of province locations is under investigations, with revisions to object class and special containment procedures awaiting approval. Compact, non-sentient, inert. Oh, these are just the footnotes. Animal testing approval pending. Premature depletion of SCP-2107 through usual means, such as emesis, gastric lavage, or removal of organs currently containing the fluid from their appropriately body systems, cause partial total cessation of the effect. What's cessation? I presume like okay, yeah, to stop. Okay. The death of SCP-2107-A will result in total cessation of all effects caused by their ingestion. Okay. Despite the assessment of at least 46 anomalous events suggesting that SCP as the... Thank you for the head pats. Markedly. Okay. Okay, that's cool. I like that. It's gimmicky. I like it. I like how gimmicky it is. I gotta load the file. I should have done this before. That's okay. Okay, SCP-5031 and then SCP-031. Okay. Got going here. here? Oh wait, this isn't the file that I want. I specifically have an SCP icon one now, don't I? Yes, there it is. I put that one on the archive, right? I put that one on 2. Oh yeah, because this one could just, yeah, okay. Yes, I did put 7034 on there. Okay. SCP, oops. 2107. Thank you for the luck. There you go. Quick X. Save. Okay, dokie. Okay. Thank you for the alert for bet. Okay. SCP-5031. This document has been flagged for possible methodological issues. Please be aware that the following information is subject to change and may contain inaccuracies. SCP-5031, Object Class Keter. SCP-5031 is to be contained in an airtight iron cell in Biosite-59. The structure must be inspected for imperfections on a bi-weekly basis. No other interaction necessary. SCP-5031 is a non-sapient quasi-humanoid creature of unknown origin. When directly observed, SCP-5031 will temporarily cease to exist until the viewer stops observing the space. SCP-5031 formally occupied. Traces of existence, e.g. scratch marks, will continue to exist when SCP-5031 does not. Video and photography devices do not capture SCP-5031's appearance. However, observing SCP-5031's shadow does not cause cessation of existence, allowing certain physiological traits to be inferred from its silhouette. Abnormally small head with no discernible neck, elbows branch into 3 sets of lower arms each, elongated torso approximately 1.9 meters in length, pelvis terminates in a crescent-shaped protrusion of osseous tissue with a blade-like lower edge, levitates above the ground at a fixed height of 0.5 meters. While SCP-5031 has no nutritional needs, it will nevertheless hunt and consume any human or animal it encounters by using pendulous lower body to down targets. SCP-5031 does not sleep and is incapable of expression or verbal communication. As of February 14th, 2018, that's Valentine's. Senior researcher Stanley Huxtable is now acting in the role of HMCL supervisor for SCP-5031. The following is a selection of relevant correspondences from SR Huxtable to Site Director Yusuf Mostofi, elucidating research progress. Okay, Stanley Huxtable sounds like a country guy, and Yusuf Mostofi sounds like a Russian guy, so I think that's how I'll do the voices for this one. Okay. Initial impressions. I have no idea who wrote this, but there's a lot I'd like to say to them. I'm not a fan of abandoning a living creature inside a metal box for 10 years, no matter how pragmatic it may be. It's difficult to fathom that such things were considered the norm a decade ago. Have you ever heard something scream from behind 10 inches of iron for hours on end? When I do redraft, remind me to add anomalous resistance to hoarseness somewhere in the description. Could you work your magic and get the boys to retrofit the containment cube with an aperture and security vestibule? I'd like to run some tests that require exposing SCP-5031 to certain stimuli. Round 1 test sound. Installed speakers in the containment vestibule and played various albums of natural ambience and popular music. SCP-5031's propensity for screaming worked as a convenient way to measure its stress level. 100% would be considered its typical screaming volume and duration, and over 48 hours, and 0 would be no screaming at all. The best of Mozart, the best of Enya. It got more stressed about Enya. It got the most stressed about Jethro Tull. Who's this? Who's Jethro Tull? I don't think I know their music. Interesting. But it had most stress in normal nature environments. That's interesting. Efficacy of music for stress reduction gradually decreases over time. I've assembled the playlist of SCP-5031's favorite music to play on shuffle in its enclosure in priority. Stress level consistently remain between 15 to 25% range, baseline adjusted accordingly. Round 2 tests play. Additional retrofitting was made to the containment chamber to facilitate observation, namely the integration of reinforced viewing windows arranged behind a scrim on which shadows may be projected by the use of lamps placed alongside the opposite wall. Let's see. Softball. The softball led it to slice it in two. Basketball, slice the ball open. Rolling the ball. SCP-5031 scratched a couple of grooves into the ball, then rolled the ball around the enclosure with the blunt side of its tail for 20 minutes. Stress levels remained less than 60% after play. Bowling ball chipped to the extent that it would no longer roll properly on plan. Stress level increased. Oh no. Okay, so a normal bowling ball gave it only 40%. Rolled additional bowling ball into a closure. SCP-5031 used the blunt side of its tail to hit the two balls together for a while. Stress level remained lower than 40% after the play. Toss basketball. SCP-5031 picked up and played with the ball. Stress level remained to less than 20%. Okay. Okay, I guess it's because, like, it learned how to play with, like, sport ball is why it was less stress. SCP-5031 appears to have learned to use his hand to play with the basketball in order to avoid accidentally damaging it. Motor skills comparable to that of a toddler. SCP-5031 still prefers bowling balls for kicking. That's funny. Round 3 test. Food. SCP-5031 was given the choice between two potential food sources placed at the opposite ends of the enclosure. Human versus pig, it chose pig. Pig versus chicken, chose pig. Pig versus rotisserie chicken, chose rotisserie chicken. Uncooked versus cooked chicken, took cooked. Live chicken versus cooked chicken, took cooked chicken. And then they did another round, but it was hungry. Okay. While it's true that SCP-5031 doesn't necessarily need to eat, feeding it regularly causes a marked decrease in average stress levels. Stress reduction seems to scale proportional with the quality of food provided. Also of note is that SCP-5031 prefers to use its tail to pry and cut meat into bite-sized portions rather than rip the meat into chunks with its teeth or hands. It's just a little baby. 5031's just a little baby. Round 4 test, coexistence. SCP-5031 fed until satiated, live subject common chicken introduced to enclosure. SCP-5031 observed subject from a distance for several minutes and then rolled a bowling ball toward the subject at high speed. Subject was killed instantly. SCP-5031 stress level rose immediately and yeah, because it probably just wanted to play with it and then fucking killed it, dude. That's crazy. Bowling balls removed from enclosure. SCP-5131 fed until satiated, live subject common chicken introduced to enclosure. SCP-5031 gently rolled a basketball towards the subject. Ball hit subject lightly. Subject responded with a small cry and moved away. SCP-5031 did not engage with subject any further. Okay, live subject, Class D blindfolded, introduced to enclosure and instructed to sit and roll a basketball forward, then wait until it came back and roll it away again. Subject and SCP-5031 steadily rolled the ball back and forth for several minutes. SCP-5031 eventually abandoned the activity and approached the subject. For safety protocol, subject removed their blindfold to terminate the activity. Okay. SCP-5031 was fed until satiated. Live subject Class D introduced to the enclosure and instructed to toss a tennis ball at the wall, let it ricochet behind them, and then catch and repeat. SCP-5031 stood behind the subject and successfully engaged in the game of catch, mimicking subject's actions of letting the ball ricochet against the wall. Afterward, SCP-5031's motor skills appeared to be rapidly improving, so it's becoming a smart baby. Round 5 test symbols. Forward. 5 LCD displays were fitted onto the wall of SCP-5031's enclosure, each with a lit button and a food dispenser underneath. 2 stations activated. Screen 1 displayed an image of a rock, its buttons dispense a rock. Screen 2 displayed an image of a rotisserie chicken, its button dispensed a piece of chicken. SCP-5031 poked at the image of a chicken for a few minutes and eventually hit the button. Chicken was dispensed until SCP-5031 was satisfied. Screen displays and the materials dispensed were swapped. SCP-5031 hit the button it had hit the previous day and received a rock. It then went to the other screen and hit the button to dispense chicken. Test 3. Screen displays and materials dispensed were swapped back to their original position and set to swap again at random intervals after first distribution. SCP-5031 went directly to the button next to the image of the chicken, experienced apparent confusion after the first mid-distribution swap, but quickly learned to watch the images. 3 more stations' screens button dispensers were activated. 4 stations were displayed with the word rock and dispensed rock. 1 station displayed the word chicken and dispensed chicken. Arrangements set to change randomly several times over the following days. Through trial and error, SCP-5031 determined which station dispensed chicken. SCP-5031 subsequently went to the station marked chicken whenever displays were swapped. Test 5. All stations deactivated except 1. Screen displayed the word chicken. Several wood blocks were set in front of the station, each marked with one of the letters in the word chicken. The station's buttons was set to remain unlit and inactive until the blocks were arranged in the correct order. SCP-51 expressed apparent frustration, hitting the inactive button repeatedly and striking the wall with its tail. Test 6, same as the previous test, but the screen displayed the word chicken with each letter overlaid on the photo of a wood block. After 12 minutes, SCP-5031 successfully assembled the word chicken. Afterward, you can learn a language, Yusuf. Oh boy. Round 6 tests vocabulary. SCP-5031 has learned to use letter blocks to form the following word: foods, music, and play. Afterward, through its increased vocabulary and human interaction, SCP-5031 has made the following progress: establish food preferences and dish pairings, learn to sing non-verbally, and learn to juggle. 6-handed juggling is something to behold. Round 7 tests. Activities. Test 1. Introduce table, paper, crayons into the enclosure. Live subject, Class D personnel, instructed to demonstrate drawing for SCP-5031. SCP-5031 learned to draw. Discernible subjects depicted in its artwork include D-class personnel and SCP-5031, a rotisserie chicken, a cat, and myself. Introduce a piano into enclosure. Live subject, Class D personnel, instructed to play chopsticks blindfolded and invite 5031 to play along. Subject had time to practice beforehand. SCP-5031 learned chopsticks in 2 days. Though it appeared more interested in making its own music, complete with vocals, these compositions might be considered crude by human standards. Test 3. Introduce spice rack into its enclosure. Live subject Class D personnel instructed to demonstrate seasoning meats. SCP-5031 spent almost 3 straight days experimenting with different combinations of food and spices. SCP-5031 assembled the words more with its letter blocks after running out of the garlic powder. Oh, I like garlic powder. SCP-5031 only engaged with art and music when accompanied by D-52-125, but it continues to be preoccupied with food preparations even when alone. Round 8 test cooking. Basic kitchen utilities installed in the enclosure. Live subject D-52-12-5 instructed to demonstrate preparations of various recipes. Okay, so it's like a quesadilla. Like they got like savory and sweet in here. I like that. SCP-5031 has a peanut allergy. Out of all the allergies, a peanut allergy? Really? My face tracking lagging. Seems okay. SCP-5031 has a severe peanut allergy. This should be included in the revised containment procedures. I would also like to note that SCP-5031 is now a better chef than the average human and has begun to create his own recipes. D-Class Personnel 52-12-5 has volunteered to taste test. SCP-5031 has said its first word, salt. We are immensely proud. Final test summary. SCP-5031 was given 2 months to develop a 3-course meal to serve all the Biosci 59 cafeteria personnel for working over Thanksgiving. Its selections were as follows. First course, sweet potato turmeric miso soup. Second course, a duck confit with apple cider glaze and cranberry compote, topped and paired with butternut squash gnocchi on a bed of kale seasoned with truffle salt. Third course, a slice of spiced cassava pie topped with French vanilla ice cream and a maple hazelnut syrup. SCP-5031 also debuted its original composition, Piano Sonata for Six Hands, in a live performance broadcast from its enclosure. Personal response was overwhelmingly positive. SCP-5031's stress level was at 0%. Testing successfully conclusive. Testing successfully concluded. Revised documentation submitted for approval. That's very curious because I wonder. Like, it says it's so dangerous, but it's like they're just a little guy. It just seems like they're just a little guy. They're just a little guy learning, and they like to cook. This little guy likes to cook. Hey, he's just a little chef. He's just a little guy that likes to cook. That's sweet. I like that one. See, 5031. I am big yawn right now. Copy image. Ooh, those eyes are triggering my tryptophan. A deadly monster, but they would give them a chance. Maybe they wouldn't be horrible. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, he is terrifying, but I guess he just likes food. It's kind of like how would you treat a savage animal before you I guess like tame it, I guess. I actually kind of want to put a little chef hat on. Treat them like monsters. They act like monsters. Yeah. Honestly, I kind of like this image more than this one. Like, I get that this one is not as accurate, but like, I like that he has a little chef hat in this one. I like his tail too. Also, that Diet Ghost was very interesting. I liked it. It reminded me a lot of energy drinks that I've had. Like the branding of them, at the very least. Yes, replace it. Okay. And then the last SCP story for today. SCP-31. Object class. Let me remove them from the recommendations. SCP-2107. After 3 weeks of electroshocks on the creature, we were surprised that it tried to kill us on God. SCP-5031. We've read that one now. And now we are reading SCP-31. Then we will insert. I might redo this one more time and make the UI, make these images like kind of like actual like green images, because I think that would be cool. The first one was Euclid. Image and cell. Then that one was this one. The next one is Keter class. Alright. And now we will go on to the last one, which is Euclid. Okay. SCP-31. Object class Euclid. SCP-31 is currently contained in the Ryugyong Hotel, located in the city of Pyongyang, Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Oh, man, I feel more like an ass that I can't read Korean words better. As the nation it is located in is currently governed by an authoritarian regimen with near complete control of the state and national media, the possibility of information regarding SCP-31 being released to the world at large is minimal. As said, regimen is also cooperating with the Foundation in order to maintain physical security of the site. Foundation personnel are instructed to comply with their directives so long as they do not interfere with larger Foundation aims. The structure of the Ryugyong Hotel serves to contain SCP-31 within the central spire. 3 secondary spires located at 120-degree intervals from the central pyramid house Type 9 Heaven's Blade restriction systems, calibrated to focus a disrupted energy field toward the central spire. Although unable to prevent physical escape by SCP-31, the system serves to prevent SCP-31's psychic energies from escaping the structure and affecting off-site personnel. Interesting. Reclamation's efforts of the hotel are currently underway, with reclamation efforts of the hotel are currently underway, with local government forces utilizing hazmat suit personnel armed with flame projectors and chemical sprayers to decontaminate areas affected by SCP-31. However, due to the slow pace of the progress and SCP-31's defensive capabilities, reclamation efforts are drastically behind schedule. I feel like I'm saying that word wrong. Personnel who become affected by SCP-31's psychic ability are to be terminated immediately to prevent their biomatter from becoming incorporated into its physical matrix. Interesting. SCP-31 is an amorphous organism with a mass of over 7,500 kilograms that has infiltrated the ductwork and maintenance infrastructure of the building. Tendrils emerging from SCP-31's central mass have spread through the hotel's plumbing and ductwork to all 105 floors of the building. At its peak, over 75% of the hotel's 3,000 rooms were contaminated by SCP-31. Reclamation efforts have destroyed redacted percent of the initial infestation, but over redacted rooms remain affected by SCP-31. SCP-31's tendrils terminate in a pod-like structure, sporocarp, consisting of an ovoid structure approximately 2 meters in length, with multiple cilia-like structures branching off the main body. On some occasions, subjects in the presence of an SCP-031 sporocarp will instead perceive it as an individual the subject has had a close emotional connection to in their past. The SCP-31 sporocarp will metamorphose into the shape of the person perceived and attempt to persuade the subject to remain with them for an extended period of time. The SCP-31 sporocarp will next attempt to make physical contact with the targeted individual with the cilia-like structure. Digestive juices will be injected into the subject's body, and their flesh will be consumed and incorporated into SCP-31's body mass. In the meantime, a secondary flagellum will engulf the subject's cranium and brain, replacing the blood vessels with its own tendrils, which will maintain life support of the affected brain by some yet undiscovered means. The tendrils will decerebrate the subject and transport the subject's cranium back through the building's ductwork, where it is incorporated into the central mass. Footage taken through surveillance drones indicate that there are currently redacted crania in the network of the tendrils attached to SCP-31's central mass. By all indications, the brains contained with are still alive and may be conscious. Woof! That sucks. SCP-31 was discovered on October 22, 1948, following contradictory police records taken after a riot in the city of Redacted, where several civilians had gathered around a refugee camp professing love and devotion to a cult-like leader, whom they referred to as the Beloved. Once initial contact and assessment was made, the civilians were pacified through widespread distribution of inhaled tranquilizers and aerosolized anesthetics. MTF Psi-7 was able to recover 31's central mass and move it into containment. In its initial form, SCP-31 consisted of a single amorphous entity, approximately 75 kilograms in weight, of vaguely humanoid shape. It had not yet manifested the ability to consume and incorporate human biomatter into itself, or any mind-affecting properties aside from inspiring unusual feelings of love and devotion. As of November 16th, 1948, SCP-31 has been classified as safe and was in... Oh, this is our first one that went from, like, safe to a different, like... Because, like, all the ones we read thus far are, like, they don't change their classifications. Unfortunately, the Korean conflict, which began on June 25th, 1950, resulted in the destruction of the Foundation containment site at Pyongyang and the loss of all anomalies contained within. By the end of the conflict in 1953, all other anomalies were accounted for, either recovered or confirmed destroyed, aside from SCP-31, which was presumed lost in the wild. Foundation assets first became aware of the reemergence of SCP-31 in 1992, when construction on the Ryugyong Hotel in Pyongyang suddenly halted. Personnel liaising with the local regiment confirmed that an anomalous effect had resulted in the disappearance of numerous workers employed in the construction of the hotel, and a Foundation mobile task force was dispatched to investigate. All members of the MTF were subsequently lost in action, and the site was locked down and declared off limits. All work on the Ryugyong Hotel ceased for over 16 years, aside from the installation of Heaven's Blade restriction systems and the secondary spires. In 2008, increased infiltration of SCP-31 into building infrastructure resulted in the possibility of its discovery by outside persons. The local regiment immediately ordered that the windows be installed on the structures to hide the existence of SCP-31 from others, resulting in the loss of redacted more construction workers. Unfortunately, this was perceived as the resumption of construction. Unfortunately, this was perceived as the resumption of construction on the building, resulting in expectation that the structure would actually be completed and open to the public in the future. Reclamation efforts commenced within the year, utilizing flame and solvent project equipment to destroy SCP-31 tendrils and sporocarps, with each team accompanied by a political officer assigned to terminate any personnel who became assimilated into SCP-31. As of the current date, reclamation efforts are still underway. Foundation personnel are continuing to liaise with the local regiment and monitor their progress, which is slow but steady. Sorry. From RISA Associate Director Eleanor Jones to Records Office 2210. Subject: Incomplete SCP file for SCP-31. Team, I have an issue that needs immediate clarification. I have the Ryugyong Hotel as the location of a mind-affecting stele from the Proto-Afro-Asiatic culture group. What the fuck? Okay. Wait. What's the difference? Okay, wait. I gotta go back. I have the Ryugyong Hotel as the location of a mind-affecting. As you can see, that's the same location as this brain stealing flesh network. Are these two objects related at all? Is the hotel some kind of DPRK, a containment facility? If so, we should put that into the object's SCP file. These aren't normal. No. The edible's taking over me, and all words are not in my vocabulary. Please reply at earliest convenience. The reply. Eleanor, as far as my team can figure, there does not appear to be a link between the two objects. In fact, I'm getting conflicting reports that the containment teams regarding whether or not either of these objects actually exist. The 1427 team is insisting the hotel is the site for the steal, and there's no brain-eating flesh network there. And the DPRK government is part of the containment procedures. Then I have the team for SCP-31 insisting that the DPRK government involvement is purely politically motivated, i.e., we don't want to get involved so as long as they're taking care of it, and there's no such thing as a mind-affecting steal located within the building. Which is concerning given that we've got two mind-affecting anomalies within the same space, and two teams with two separate stories here. Possible Eastern Samothrace situation. Oh my god, this is really interesting because it's like, I like this, like, the way they talk, because, like, if you were working in the facility, you just being like, possible, like, SCP, like, oh, it could be this SCP, and, like, how they, like, refer to them. I like it. Okay, someone needs to get to the bottom of this. We can't have a useful database with such blatantly contradictory information. Make it your first priority. Resolve this. Eleanor. Will do. Entered into the tracker as 31F99ZK with a sister ticker entered as 11427F99ZK. Gwen. Team, can I get an update on this issue? Eleanor, my apologies. I guess I wasn't clear on the further updates would be sent through the tracker system. We're gathering information and assessing this issue. We'll keep you informed. Team, it's been 3 days. Can I please get the requested update, or at least a deadline by which we'll have the issue resolved? Eleanor, as I stated in tracker update 22 on this ticket, we found the problem is more complicated than we expected, requiring us to physically send a person from HQ over to Pyongyang to investigate. It's taken us some time to get through that North Korean red tape totalitarian governments, am I right? And to get the paperwork done to reassign Jenny's responsibilities while she's gone. Team, it's been 2 weeks. Why has there been no updates on this issue? This is highly time-sensitive issue, and your lack of progress is extremely disappointing. We need to get to the resolve of this before Maria has to step in. Oh my god, this is long. Like, they're kind of getting mad at each other. Eleanor, I can assure you that per instructions, resolving this issue has been our top priority. We've been cross-referencing between the documentation, and the only discrepancy appears to be the fact that there are discrepancies, as in all the documentation for one project is entirely consistent, and all the documentation for the second project is internally consistent. They're both consistent. It's only when you put them together that things don't make sense. We tried talking to the project leads of both teams, but neither of them seems to know the other exists. We tried having them look up the other SCP team's file in the system. They can read just fine, but it just doesn't make sense to them. SCP-31 team has no record of 1427 on site, and vice versa. We thought there might be some kind of time-space parallel dimension thing going on, so we had a member of each team try to meet up at the same place at the Ryugong Hotel outside of the front entrance. They were not able to find each other, despite confirming that they were both in the same place at the same time, photographs with timestamps attached. We then had the 2 team members try to meet up at the location outside the hotel and were able to meet up just fine. When they tried to return to the hotel together, they lost track of each other and ended up not being able to find each other. We tried sending Jenny over to Pyongyang to investigate. That was a pain in the ass given visa restrictions into North Korea. They weren't able to meet with both teams simultaneously, but they were able to meet each team one-on-one. Both teams gave them a tour of their containment facility, and everything seemed to be in order. 31 teams showed us their reclaimed rooms and cleanup teams, while 1427 teams showed them the location of the steel. Neither team was able to allow direct contact with the anomaly because of the containment procedures, but they were able to confirm its existence through remote cameras. The DPRK team 431 had no idea about the existence of any DPRK assets being used to contain 1427 and vice versa. This might not be surprising given the information controls in that country. To make things even worse, Jenny got a call from Yun-Mi at the KR branch asking what the hell Risa staff member was doing in the city. She contacted them, and as far as KR is concerned, we do not and have not had any assets in the Ryugong Hotel. Jenny went so far as to ask Yunmi to take her to the hotel and show her around a bit, and when she got there, she couldn't find any traces of SCP-31, 1427, or the teams involved either. So in conclusion, after 3 weeks of hard work, we can conclude from the evidence, one of the following must be true. SCP-31 exists and F-1427 does not exist. Vice versa, both SCP-1427 and SCP-31 exist, and there is an anomaly at the Ryugong Hotel preventing either team from knowing about the other or proving the other's existence. Neither of them exist, and there's an anomaly at the Ryugong Hotel creating the impression that it exists in the RISA central staff, but the KR branch staff is not affected. One or both of SCPs may or may not exist, and the KR branch are under a mind effect compulsion that they do not know, I guess, or we're under a compulsion that it does. All or none or some of the all or none or some of the above may be true simultaneously due to multiple world theory, parallel uses, or some timey-wimey fuckery shit. And if you have any idea on what we can do to fucking fix that shit, I've got Gwen. Okay. I think that wasn't a finish sentence. New directives. Hello, team. Effective immediately. Guinevere Kirkpatrick has been relieved of her duties as project lead. Oh, damn. They fired her? Hourly reports. Damn, they fired her? That's kind of hella rude, bro. Alright. A fond farewell and another new name. Oh, now she's resigning. Good afternoon, Risa staff. Thank you all again for your hard work. Today's email will be a short one. 1. The 3.14 update of Scuttle has been updated to snapshot 2207D. Please remind your team leads to log into the test instance and confirm proper functionality. Send any bug reports to the Scuttle team as soon as possible. We know that this involves taking time out of your day for additional tasks, but the sooner we complete this wide scale stress test, the sooner we can roll out the new version and put some fears to rest. I'm saddened to announce that Eleanor has chosen to retire due to health concerns. This announcement came as a surprise to me as well, due to the sudden nature of her health crisis. She's unable to say goodbye to us before being transferred to Redacted Hospital, where I understand she is convalescing nicely. Please expect a follow-up email with a link to a crowdfunding page for a going-away gift for it, as well as an address of where you can send cards, gifts, and other well wishes. Until we can appoint a new AD to take over her project, we will tentatively splitting out her teams up between several different existing ADs. Expect an announcement of the new table of organizers by noon. Please take a moment during your next weekly team to go over Section 22B, reporting inconsistencies in documentation of your handbook with your staff, and make sure that everyone knows the proper procedures to follow when you end up with an information anomaly. Okay. I didn't know which Korea they would. It felt like North Korea at first, so I find it very interesting. Then that's what it is. Very curious about 1137. So 1137 and this one. But those were cool. I'm not gonna lie, the high took me over a bit faster than I thought it would. And I took a lot less this time, chat. I'm gonna be real. She could have been demoted or amnestetized. Am I saying that word right? Nah, I think the old lady, I think Eleanor got mad at her and got her removed. Yes, okay, thank you. Oops. SCP-31. Next time we will read SCP-1173 and the other one, this one. SCP-1427. Because I'd like to see how those differ. Save. Oh shit, what class was this? Was this Euclid? Yeah, it was Euclid. Yeah, it was safe and then it went to Euclid, right? Because this was our first one that changed its safety rating, or its status rating. Boop. Boop. Yeah. Well. Oh, wow. Are we going to be adding others in the future gamer? Yeah, on God. I posted a link to this in the Discord. So like if you want to be you want to give recommendations, you're free to either put them in the Discord or you can add them here. So essentially you can add name. I don't know if I want to put name on all of them, because some of you are SCPs, but yeah, you can fill this out like everyone else, or like I have for the others, or you could just tell me in Discord and then I can fill it out for you. But yeah, it's cool because like you can click on it and it'll link it to that, and it's really cool. And I made this today and I think it looks pretty cool. But yeah, so if anybody has recommendations, like feel free to DM them to me. I try to do like one from each person that recommends one. Or at least I try. That's typically my plan. Alright, I got a message request. Oh my god, TikTok's freaking out. Oh right, it's from myself. I have to accept these and accept. Okay. Alright, we got some videos to watch. I think Kiwi hasn't sent me any because they've been sick. So we will watch the other ones, and then I will probably go to sleep. Let me make sure. Yep. Okay. All right. TikTok time. Oh shit! Is Kiwi sending them to me now? Oh shit! Let's go. Okay. I love Mandy. It's like crazy style. It is giving Nova Scotia. Hockey. Huh, what? Like I always said, wizard at the end. Okie dokie. Wizard. Now I'm gonna watch flames. Okay. Oh, that kitty working hard. I feel like they make biscuits just like how my cat made. My cat makes very slow biscuits. They want to bonka. They want to bonka. They want to bonka. Do you feel bonita? They look very bonita. This is like really good though. Yo, if I was like 5% higher, I would just think this is like a legit thing. Dude, that's actually sick. I do like little nerdy singing fun fact. I like the sounds that they used. Cause like ya, ma, na are like good sounds to like sing. Like they're very comfy. Like if you were to like, so sometimes when you practice singing, you actually do sing just letters to practice. And you know, the easier ones are like vowels. So like A, E, I, O, U are easier, but sometimes you do other letters and stuff. So I just like that he chose like a vowel kind of sounding word because it's like more comfy to sing. Especially if maybe like this doing like these kind of like vocals might strain their voice. So I think that's cool. Yamano! I'm watching TikToks right now, so yeah, probably. Okay. Okay. Fuck, I fucking missed. I'm sorry, although I did get. That's okay. I'm sorry, Vex. Should I at you next time? Do you want me to at you next time? I'm sorry. I can talk about it if you want. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I would say I could read them again, but high flame. Please do. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't know how busy you were because like the other day you were busy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My bad. I'll at you next time. I'll at you next time. I'll even hold on. I'll make a little note on my desk. I'll write it down so I don't forget. If there's anything on God, like if any of you want me to like specifically at you for any, you're good. It was just locked into Halo. That's fair. If any of you want, like, if there's any like part of stream that you really want to be here for, SCP, TikToks that you want me to at you for, please let me know. I'm so happy to. SCP at and then vexed. No problem. Do you like the murder you mean the chef murder monster? You mean hold on. You mean SCP-5031? The murder monster? Cause I did. He's a little guy. He don't know nothing. And he know how to play with ball. And he like chicken. And then he learned how to season things. It was so cute. I loved him a lot. And then we read 2107, which was Diet Ghost, which is about like a carbonated drink that when you drink it makes you see ghosts. Or makes you feel like you're being haunted by a ghost. And then we did SCP-31, which is that one was interesting. So it's a hotel in North Korea that has two separate anomalies going on with it. So they have SCP-31, which is a brain consuming monster that's like will trick people into thinking that their loved ones are in the hotel and like luring them in and then stealing their brains. Or you'll have SCP-117 or 1427 at the same location that does something else, and we didn't read that one, but they're happening at the same place. SCP-31 was also the first one where it was like, oh, we thought it was safe class when it's actually Euclid class because there might be more than just one thing happening here. There might be like 3 different SCP or 3 different like anomalous things happening. So Diet Ghost is so good. I like Diet Ghost. I think Diet Ghost was very silly. I liked it. Okay. Now we'll go and watch some more TikToks. That's a fun fact. The foundation is the reason why North Korea is like that. No, I will not. Really? Really? Like the actual North Korean government? Or is it just because North Korea in general? Because it's very funny in the beginning. They don't technically. I guess I don't. If I'm honest, I don't know super the specific jurisdictions between the two. But I feel like the just the way it's said, like, yeah, they need brutal dictatorship. It needs to contain an anomaly. It's fair. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's fair. Oop, it's loading. But I did like it. I thought it was cool the kind of shift of like, oh, we don't actually know what's happening. Hi, happy. Okay, no, okay, we're back. It's a line, isn't it? It's me. Okay, wait. Hi, I'm back. Welcome back. Came back at in the middle of TikTok time. So good timing. Dude, I just saw the message. Where is it? Too far? Fuck. Oh no, you're right. I remember that frog. Oh yeah. Okay. How your homeboy walks into the exam just to throw up 30 minutes later and get an 8 on God. Yo, high key, that's me sometimes. When I was in high school, before I started taking my studying, can I be real with you guys? I'm gonna be real with you guys. I cheated in high school. I went to online school. And I learned a lot. No, I didn't learn anything in high school. I really didn't. I cheated. I was in online school, and so I looked up the quiz answers online. I learned math, but I hated it because my mom would help me. But outside of that, dude, I cheated so much. That's why I'm stupid. That's why I'm a little stupid. But you know, on God. It was a whole ass little dude. Oh, I fucked up. I'm sorry. I fucked up. I wanted to favorite it. I was trying to remember like the website I used to cheat, but I don't remember. I don't remember it. Different cat. My reaction when you said you cheated, the cat. Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd just be that kind. I don't know. I don't really care. I think I cared, but I didn't care. I was really good, but you know what? I was so good at writing essays. I was really good at writing essays. I always get an A on my essays. My essays, I never cheated on my essays. I did the work for my essays. Bruh, these Freudian slips. Wait, what one was that one? President Fraud. Oh. I think I wasn't confident, but yeah. Grift. These slips give me so much secondhand embarrassment. On God. On God. Especially the one that's like... This one, bro. This one, stop attacking pedophiles, is crazy. Okay, shit. They got nothing. They got nothing in it, bro. I don't think I've met a single person who liked Ted Cruz. I'll be honest, I don't even know who that is. I must have. Bro, I gotta use that on you sometime. Did it jiggle when I fell from heaven? Can you see him? That was really good. Chu-chan? He's behind me. What, did you see that? See what? Which one you using? Did it jiggle when you fell from heaven? I don't want you. He's gonna Jeff the kills me. The first comment, he's gonna Jeff the kills me. That's really funny. The one where the guy felt this one? No, that one. Nope, not that one. This one? Yeah, he just ate it. I like that the cat zoomed by. The cat zooming by made me happy. Oh, this is good art of dinosaur. Look at that. Look at that. This is sick. I like his little face. I like that. That was so cute. What fish is it? I will bite you if my mouth work that way. So proud they have to nerf him every update. They find other guy. Damn. Damn. Oh. The Saka Saka Bam Bam Piece. The Saka Saka Bam Bam Piece is a fish. Dun, 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 dun. Weirdest prehistoric animals. Hold on. Charovipteryx. Oh my god, this is not. Longest iguana. Diplomoceras. Oh, look at this little guy, the Jellohopterus. Saka Bam Bam Piece. Oh, Jesus Christ, that one is scary. Oh, Opabinia. Can I just say, I love drawings that look like this. It reminds me of, like, early 2000s, like, what was it called? Early 2000s VHS. Educational. What was it? As a sport. Yeah, sport, but also, like, pretty. That one, yeah. Anomaclara subtype? What's that? Animorphs? Not Animorphs. It was like... There's Bill... You watch Bill Nye the Science Guy and then another one. Bill Nye and VHS. What else was it? Literally, Earth was just a spore PvP server before God threw a meteor on it. Goddamn. That's true. What's the other one? It was like old VHS animal. Is it this one? No, I don't think so. I don't remember what it was. It was this. It's this shit, I think. Nope. I think I lied. Fuck. It kind of looked like that, though. What is it? I don't remember what it is. It wasn't National Deer. What was the other one? Science Room VHSs. I forgot what it's called. Yeah, because you'd watch Bill and there would be another one. I don't remember what it was, though. Bruh, please. Please. Oh my god, Schoolhouse Rock is really good. Conjunction, function, what's your junction? I think I spelled the song that wrong. That's okay. What the fuck is it, bro? Popular Science VHS. I'm not thinking about Bill Nye. The other one. Wait, I think I saw a picture of it. No, that's not it. I don't think. Bro, come on. I feel like some of you have had to seen it. You don't. It's not this one. It's got that weird. They could. It's this one. It's this one. It's the eyewitness VHSs. These ones. You guys remember these? Dude, how'd they go? I remember the intro. Hold on. Hold on, sorry. I need to see this. What were they about? Eyewitness full episode. I just want to know. Dude, the quality of these are actual. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And like the all-white museum. Da-da-da-dun. Dun da-da-da-dun. Does this song come from singing? Is it just from this? Do 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 do. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Yo, the intro song brings me. I know, right? I think there's a guy that like narrates it as well. I think. Yes, Martin Sheen. Oh my god. Oh my god. I got hit in the nostalgia in my soul. That guy Martin Sheen, man. Wow, super stormy. Oh no, is it like snowstormy or? Martin Sheen. This is Martin Sheen. This is the guy. This is the guy. This is the guy, Martin Sheen. Is he still alive? Yeah, he's 85 years old. Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, anywho. Just normal stormy. It's oh okay. Paleo wave. Oh, that's a weird elephant. I'll follow this guy because they want to do some interesting stuff. First time cannibals when they realize they don't like the taste of human meat and they just have a body. They just have a body in their room. Oh yeah, that. You know what? That's fair. My Project Onward survivor finding a hottie Z after reading nothing but phone books for. That's funny. I want to play this so bad. Oh my god, it's so cute. Okay, wait. I want to look up. Okay, if you don't want to know what the Palm Bomb evolution is, please look away. I have to look it up. Pokemon evolution. Please, I gotta know. I don't know if they're gonna tell us. The fan ones are really cool. A little guy. Yeah, because the last ones that they did, I don't think it's dropped yet. I think there's cards. There's cards. There's like trading cards for Wind and Waves that I think have the evolutions, I think. But the thing is like for the last like fucking Pokemon games. For the last one that they released, I do really want to play Poketopia too, but fucking they're all still all mogged by Rowlet. It's true. It's true. Is it Arceus? This the one with the pig. It's the one with the pig. Wind and Waves. Scarlet and Violet, I think. What are the starters in Scarlet and Violet? Scarlet and Violet starter Pokemons. Yeah, and then the little flame crocodile turns into this stupid ass motherfucking. Look at this shit. Fucking Fuecoco. Cutest little button bee. Cutest little button. I love him and his little Cheez-It little square. Or fucking American cheese slut. And then Crocolar and Skeledirge? Like, what the fuck is this? No! No! Fuecoco was so cute and they made him ugly. Flame croc pic. Look at this photograph. Oh god. Like I think Sprigato looked really cute. Sprigato. Quaxley was he kind of gave me when he turned into Quaxwell, it gave me Mega Mind energy, so I didn't really like it. So I'm scared that they're gonna do that with Pombon. I actually like all of them. Wind and Wave starters are actually anyways. Do they have the big Pokemon? Like, you know, like they're always like there's like special Pokemon that come out with the new ones. I don't know if they did that one yet. Quaxley was so cunty. Oh god. Me when I was a kid versus me as an adult. Yeah, like I like all of them. I think the bird's cute. I really like the dog, and the gecko's really cute too. Like I like that it's like a little gecko. Wind and Waves. What are like the Pokemon? Did they show like they always have like yeah, like this? How they have like the bigger like, oh, these are like the ultimate Pokemon, or like the rarest Pokemon or whatever, or the strongest ones, I guess. I think the strongest ones. How we would draw the bird like a soggy nugget. Oh, I'm sure. I got convicted for stealing a banana. I got convicted for stealing, but I won't be appealing. Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Why not? Oh my god. Mr. Windy and Wavy Chew. Oh my god, that's so cute. Okay, anywho, sorry, back to TikToks. I love this. How many stormtroopers does it take to change a light bulb? None, because they're all on the dark side. I like that one. How you doing? I'm doing good. How are you? Welcome on in. Welcome on in, Quachi. Quachi? Sometimes you have to hop off multiplayer and grind. On God! On God. Could you look up the Shiego debate? Are you talking about the Shigo with Amelie? Good things for everything? Of course. Wait, hold on. Why did you send it to me? Why'd you send this to me? Why did you send it to me? I'm not a twunk. What's up, twink? Shiego from Kim Possible? Yeah. It's said Shiego, but Amelie Monarch pronounces it Shigo. I don't think that's what twink means. I don't think that's what twink means either. Oh! Oh, Jesus. Oh, he hit his head. I low-key shed a tear after seeing this. Yo! Yeah, dude, I want to try their bites. I want bites. I want the pizza bites. It's a reverse of what you said. I know where that is. Really? It's spelled like Shigo. Oh yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, she calls it Shiego, and then it's called Shigo. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, I remember. Yes, dude, this is literally me. And it makes me so excited because it's like, oh my God, it's so exciting because I learned that the spring, I think like equinox or whatever it's called, when spring starts is always near my birthday. And it makes me really happy. I didn't know that. It is in downtown Detroit on Woodward, right by the hockey arena. Nice. Hear me out. S'more topping brownie with Oreo. Quanch, 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 quanch. Listen here. I wish I could detach. Well, I could. Hold on. I'm detaching. No, don't detach your microphone, Elaine. Okay, anywho, Quanch, listen, welcome on in. I'm high as a motherfucker right now. You cannot, you hear me? You cannot be throwing in tasty sounding food in front of me right now, dude. I'm salivating. You can't be torturing me like that. Anywho. I don't care. Rude. Food is awesome. I love food. Oh God. does a little bit. There's a store near me that sells fresh Japanese bread. Oh! That sounds so good. Ostara is spring equinox is March 20. So it's near my birthday. That makes me feel really cool. This year is the 20th. Okay. It's still cool. I just like that it's in March. Farmers market. What? Add ice cream and M&Ms or Canadian. Oh. Wait, to add ice cream? Oh. They will have equal day and nighttime. That was a worm. She said a bad word. Watch your profanities. I gotta show that to Pixels. Oh, I thought something was gonna happen. I said cash fireball. Elephant shrew rediscovered in Africa after 50 years. This animal, yes, I love the elephant shrew. They're so tiny. They're so tiny. Peanut butter bait? Peanut butter bait, bro. Yeah, they're just tiny little guys. Hello. Okay. Mm-hmm. Aww. Aww. What crazy is that? Yeah, it's a VTuber model. Alpine's so fucking cool. Alpine's really cool. I really love Alpine shit, man. Their models are insane. Did I fuck up? I fucked up. I gotta go back. I fucked up. I fucked up today. Oh shit, is my browser frozen? My browser was frozen. No. Could I look up Seeing Kitty for some cosplay? Bro, we ain't cosplaying right now. We're watching TikToks. We're watching TikToks. We're not cosplaying right now. My face tracking is lagging. Fuck. See what you do when you get off topic. Oh, sorry, I should go back. So I can still do this while I do other things. There you go. I got 3 in the content cubby. Yes, thank you. I will look at them in 10 seconds. I accidentally scrolled. I'm always off topic. You never want to be in the topic? Okay, no, it went up too far. Hold on. I do them by person, if that helps anybody. Okay. Type of shit I start yearning for mid the most important. On God. Whenever I'm stressed, I just want to, I'm going to wild. I'm going to wild. Oh, part 2. So when you run out, thank you. Tully Monstrum. What the fuck? No way. They have, like, instrument arms. Guachi, thank you for the follow. I hope you have a good time here. Hello, Corpin. Leads. I'm not reading these. Oh, there's a Squirtle bug. No. Ooh. Oh, it's like a lizard. A danger eating to tire to do my SATs. Fuck SAT. It's a chunky boy. Hold on. Hold on. It's a little chunky boy. Ethero. Sieges. Look at him. It's like He weird. I like him. He got little legs. It's like a T-Rex, but not T-Rex. He a baby. He a baby. I like that guy. It's like a munchkin rat. Oh God! Done put a T-Rex head on a little body. Oh God. On God. On God. The BF has terrible. Long. I love this lady. She's very. Darlie is very pretty. Don't tell me I was trans. I was the last motherfucker to find out. On God. Alkaline trio moving right along. Moving right along. Okay. Everyone else knew before me. How do you make an egg roll? Yo, push it. Push it where? Yo. Damn. Imagine playing a game like this and making good songs, making good covers and not memeing it. That's smart. On God.
Hello, Mario.
Hello. That scared me. Starbucks barista fake smile serves you unhealthy drink doesn't complain. Other than yeah, we love the kebab man. Kebab man best. Could I hear the TTS? He sound like baby. Just think of baby, and that's what he sound like. He sound like baby. If you just say you don't care, then you actually don't care. Yeah, I mean that's fair, but I have anxiety. At the moment, I think that I'll give. I just read the caption. What the fuck?
Joe Mama.
There you go. Dude, on God, I did this to my friend. I expect to meet my vampire girlfriend. About time. The poop man is here. It's true. My cat's like this, but I never, I can't close the doors. I don't like it when she said. It's true. Damn. I like that. I like that. This is funny. What about Myra? Did you on God? Yes. Yes. Damn. Wait, what fish? Bro, what fish? How did they lose them? How did they lose them? Hold on, wait. I like this one. This is funny. I like this one. Nemo hubby. Oh, got it. When you try to watch TikTok at night, but you scroll. Nemo from Hello Movie Night. Nemo. Okay. Boca. Boob. Bro, dude. The first comment. Chat. Why is the first comment on this video? Please do Futanari art. Sorry, I like this. Okay, just had to bring. I can't wait to watch this movie. I want to watch it for my birthday. Is on the way to somehow prevent that one guy from kissing his fish, driving his truck, and drinking his beer by being horny on men. Because the comments are good, that's why. Okay. Either my insurance thinks I'm a dragon warrior or I'm going to jail. I want to watch Hoppers? Me too. I don't like Coke. It makes my nose itchy. This shit once somehow didn't get my car towed. You did Coke? What? I did the Radius. I haven't seen that game before. Only difference between me and someone in the psych ward is I'm outside. It's true. Into the Radius, best game ever. What's it about? It's a VR only game. Oh, I pulled over without. Oh, gotcha. I was confused because I just watched the Coke video, but no, that's fair. That makes sense. Luckily, at some point we'll play VR games because there are a lot of VR games I want to play. I just want to wait for the new Steam VR headset to come out. Okay. Fucked up evil radius. Okay. Okay. Oh. So couldn't you, but does this mean that with Shmala you could use that uh instead of I think it was Bismillah? Mashallah? Couldn't you use Shmala instead of Masha? Okay, I'm sorry. Is it like roadside picnic, stalker, annihilation? Ooh. Different use cases, I think. Oh, okay. Hi, Moon. Oh, okay, okay. Puppy dog hits a sick ass jump over a massive gorge. Whoa! Now that's what I'm fucking talking about. Oh, he missed. Oh, he missed. Oof. It's very scary but fun. It's fair. I like this actor. He's a good actor. I'm fine. I'm feeling so much better. Just a bit stuffy. Yay! I'm glad you're feeling better. John Brown's body lies a moldering in the grave. The guy found it though. Puppies. All panting. I watched a video that intro clip was recently from. Which one? The intro clip was recent. Wait, which one? Gluten matters. Gatorade should be thicker. I love aging and dying. Stop honking. I'm trying to figure out what are saying. Trust Christ, not culture. I love break beats. Bigfoot is real, and I helped him commit Tasha. This car cucked Mount Washington. Oh my god, my dog. In dog years, I'm gay. Mullet on board. I'm not like most teens. I'm 47. Don't talk to me until I've eaten at least 2008 Mazda hatchback. John Brown. Oh, gotcha. Oh, gotcha. I understand now. What the heck? The player got paused and I missed like half of the stream. Oh no, that's okay. It's okay. I love Unhinged Pupper. I do too. Eyes on the road, baby girl. Baby, no baby on board. Feel free to drive in. Okay. I want to kiss every bug, but they are so small. My lips are so. There's like a toy for that. Bumper sticker. Honk if you love bumper stickers. I love bumper. Don't try it on bumper sticker. Peace and bumper stickers. Bumper. I'll just say, haha, nice bumper sticker. Remember if you honk at me, I will honk. Honk all you honk. If you get in closer, you have to honk. I honk. Honk. I break for wildlife. I love mulch. I'd rather be slowly consumed by moss. Hella kids in this bitch. Honk if one falls out. I hope you find what you're looking for. Honk if you're a lover. Before you say I'm driving bad, let me explain you a thing. I like this one. I would get that one. When I'm low-key suited up in my first year trying to impress the alt poser baddies, but a racist redneck sees the suit color and is I could see that happening. Albuquerque. Both of them, I like that. This was meant to send before you sent that. Yeah. This one had me in shambles. I'm gonna be honest. When it suddenly started playing the electronic music, it freaked me the fuck out. I got very scared. And Pixels walked into my office as I was processing. I got very scared. What is happening? Oh shit, sorry. I thought I had more time. Yeah, I didn't want to hear the end anyway. It's so fucking no, it's a Hyrax. I love my this. I love my this too. I am a Hyrax. I'll be dancing at bro's wedding about 10 minutes before I end his career on them. Oh my god! Damn. It is a $2 pog. We can watch them after. Like, first guy was hitting the Scooby-Doo when he saw a ghost. Full sprint. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. It's bright. Very bright. Oh shit, Halo 2. Oh. Oh. I'm gonna like it. Twitch didn't like the word blow me. I like how fluffy they are. Hope you guys have. Thank you. I did put it on my throne, but otherwise, I will save up to get it. How motherfuckers with no deodorant, 5 more classes, 54 missing assignments, 0.3 appreciated, no life, no job, 0 host, stank breath, fat. Whoa! Coding is that easy, right? Game, very cool. Graphics, very cool. FPS 240. Fans, a lot. Hackers, no. Bugs, no. Femboys, a lot. Okay. When my loving wife is giving birth, but my homeboy is mentioning Gartic phone. Gartic phone is fun, if only. That's very pretty. I want to go to an arboretum. You've been there? My god. It's very pretty. Is it open all year long or is it like a seasonal thing? It's so pretty. Want to go there? I do want to go there. It's right next to the World Doors. Really? It's in Michigan. No. Detroit, Michigan? Detroit? Yeah. I know where that is. I almost got to go there once. And it's free? That's awesome. Yo, so when are you going to send me some of these? Vexed? Oh, yeah. Oh. This looks so good. I'm so glad I have a snack right now. Companies refusing to pay 100K medical bills from a broke single mother who paid every bill on time. I see that. Not see them. Girl, I don't have your. Put them on my throne! Put jelly donuts on my throne, bruh. Me. I love sleeping. Oh, it's the last one, okay. Last video, it's not a jelly donut. It's different. Well, I want it. I'll be honest, I just stared at it. It was really good. It was really, I just want to eat it. All right, we're gonna watch. Hold on. We're gonna watch. The content cubby ones really quick, and then we'll watch everyone else. I can't express my pure rage without getting banned. You can in the Discord. You couldn't safety blanket tell me why those donuts are the best donuts. Because honestly, I'd love to know the difference. I'm sober. Birthday, bitch. Yeah, birthday, bitch. Yeah, birthday, bitch. I like that. That made me. I like that. Why was his name Fart? They just have more of all the good stuff like sugar and butter. Oh, yeah, no, that's fair. Because he was like, this is just if you took your entire pantry of butter and sugar, put it in a donut. Oh. That's insane. Oh. I clicked the wrong thing. Lily Pichu. I didn't know she was on TikTok. Hi, Norman. Thank you for the lurk. Oh my god. Oh, TikTok. I don't know. Damn, he threw the can't be good. No. Oh. Nuh-uh. Who is this person? Someone put something in contact with me, and I don't know who it is. Okay. Literally the whitest Filipino. Damn. Alright, and now we're gonna watch Kiwis. Kiwi, wee, 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 wee. Okay. The perfect dog. Oh! I accidentally refreshed when I was gonna watch this video. Oh, that's good. That's good. Some good bass. That's some good bass. Dude, that's actually fire. That's so good. Yeah, you got a cat. Me when I met Moira. This is trying to say. This is your sign to try saying this pre-cure technique in one go. Dude, that's long as fuck. The villain probably left. No, no. Hash from a comic. What does he even do? He's a little guy. Hyraxes only go to the bathroom in one spot. That'll be the same spot for generations. That's cute. I saw this. I showed this to Pixels. I don't know what kind of game it is, but I like the idea of it. Struggling to find your throne. My phone is right here. My phone. Go to you can scroll down. You know, if Twitch wants to load, that is. If Twitch wants to load, but it's down here. There's a little taggy thing with it. Oh, my browser froze. Why is my browser freezing, bro? My browser. My browser. Oh, my hand. It is right there. Okay, anyhow. Heelys? They work actually pretty well, it looks like, which is what's like befuddling me. He should do this for Halloween. What's your last name? I love those frogs. Someone put how all my peak videos sound the same, and I thought you were correct. They do sound similar. But it's like familiarity, you know? Oh yeah, season 2 One Piece. That was Zoro. I didn't know that one was at night. I don't know why, but I didn't remember that scene being at night in the anime. Ooh, I like that. Oh, princess. Oh, god damn it, that guy. CGI, that looks fun though. Oh, I mean, that castle didn't look as cold as it did in the anime though. Interesting. Tony Chopper. Type of thing old people be doing in the middle of a crowded grocery store when you're already on God. But they don't take up that much room. It is a lot. I want to add a spouse. Damn. I want horse. One freak. Oh, why? I got a whole thing worked out with pomegranate. Cat. Oh, Jesus. That's Rupert. Rupert dog. It's gonna be like cat. Rupert dog. Oh, what? I like the what? Rupert is a dog. Rupert is a dog. feel like the orange and the red one was mixed up, but okay. What the fuck? He looked quite dapper in that. That's cool. When I saw when I liked a smart video by accident, and now my whole feed is like inside. On God, I'm just a little guy. I'm just a little guy. TikTok and brain around, brother. Okay, we have Noxious too. We have Noxious too. I was thinking it was either gonna be Sniper Monkey or mayonnaise on an escalator. Going upstairs, so see you later. I thought it was that one. I like the hot dogs. I like the hot dogs. I want hot dog. Hot dog. Hot dog. So far away. Okay, what's this one? But it McDo. But it McDo. But it McDo. I could destroy a hot dog as well. It McDo. It McDo. I love you guys so much. I think this is probably where we will stop for stream today. I'll play a song. Yeah, I'll play a song. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you for streaming. I'm gonna go eat some food and be high. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. Do you guys want? Do you want Ale Tale and Tavern, Silent Hill 2, or Art? Oh, Noxia, I wish you the wellest of weekends. I hope work this week was good, and I hope that this weekend is nice, refreshing, fun, relaxing, all of the above, jam-packed into the weekend. I love you guys very much, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Sunday we'll be watching One Piece. I always love to see your star. Thank you. Thank you for doing Tyler for stream. Hello, that's like the stream player being weird on me. Thank you. I appreciate it. We're gonna go. How go weekend? We're gonna go raid. Oh shit, I didn't pick someone to raid. Fuck. We're gonna go raid. Pasia. Let's go raid Pasia. There you go. Have fun with Pasia. Here's the raid message. You don't have to use it if you don't want to, but I appreciate it if you did because then I know where you came from. But other than that, I love you, and I will see you guys on Monday. Bye, everyone. Good luck with the book. Thank you, Corey. Good night. Have a great weekend. See you in the Discord.